Oh hello, it's me, Chopper Pete, not Ollie today. Going forward on Saturdays, it's going to be me doing the news and the SmackDown review, and I know some of you would much rather Ollie do it than me, but we've been working really hard to get this home set up for me so Ollie can stop working 6 days a week, because he's been working his butt off since lockdown began. So this is all so he can take a break. Thanks Ollie for working your ass off to provide consistent content, and I'm sorry, I'm going to break that streak. Now, the news. The words criminally underused are ones we often see when fans talk about certain WWE stars, and in recent months it's been likely that those fans have been talking about former NXT Women's Champion Kairi Sane. Despite a fantastic run in NXT, which was kicked off by her winning the Mae Young Classic, Sane has never really been treated with the respect she deserves on the main roster. Instead of being treated as a singles threat, she was thrown into the Kabuki Warriors tag team alongside Asuka and, lest we forget, Paige here, and has spent the last few months being injured by Charlotte Flair or Nia Jax. Now it seems like her time on the main roster is at an end. It was initially reported by Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful that the situation between Sane and WWE was complicated, and we've known for some time that Sane has been looking at alternatives to WWE. Kairi got married earlier this year on February 22nd, and the latest report from the Wrestling Observer newsletter is that she's heading back to Japan to be with her husband. According to Dave Meltzer, the original plan was for Asuka's SummerSlam opponent to give Sane a career-ending injury, which would write her off TV and allow her to leave. However, Nia Jax got there first, injuring Sane on May 26th, and the decision was then taken to remove her from TV and stop mentioning her completely. In terms of her career, Meltzer believes that once her WWE deal expires, she'll wrestle for another year in Japan before retiring. Hopefully her final Japan run will prove how much WWE wasted her talents. Following this week's NXT Great American Bash Night 1 show, it appeared that NXT talent Saurav Gurjar had made the mother of all boo-boos by spoiling the finish to next week's Adam Cole vs Keith Lee winner takes all Great American Bash Night 2 main event by posting a picture of the winner in the ring. I won't be spoiling the result to the match, but Ollie discussed it in yesterday's news, so feel free to go and check that out if you want to see the potential spoiler. In an attempt to save face, another NXT talent EJ Nduka tweeted, "We don't run a sloppy shop. 2 endings, 2 stories, find out next week." Yeah. Okay, EJ, we totally believe you. According to Brian Alvarez on Wrestling Observer Live, the shared image was a complete mistake, and WWE is now furious with Gurjar. I can tell you that it has been made abundantly clear to me that although it seems you cannot possibly be dumb enough to take a photo of the aftermath and put it on your Instagram, that is in fact what happened, and the company was furious about it. Gurjar and tag partner Rinku Singh had been getting a pretty decent push on NXT recently as Indu share, so let's see if this error will cost them going forward. And speaking of costing things, WWE have started issuing fines to their talent. Segue. Just last week, or more accurately 14 years ago in lockdown time, it was revealed that as many as 24 people within WWE, including interviewers Renee Young and Taylor Braxton, and backstage producers Adam Pearce and Jamie Noble, had tested positive for coronavirus. This led to WWE finally starting to test its wrestlers on a regular basis, and members of the live crowd would now be told to wear masks to try and stop any further spread of the virus. It was noticed by eagle-eyed viewers of this week's Raw and last night's SmackDown that NXT star Rick Buggs removed his mask on more than one occasion, as well as many others on SmackDown as well. Buggs has since apologized for doing so, and it appears that no one will be making the same mistake, as WWE is now issuing fines to anyone spotted removing their mask. PW Insider says WWE officially mandated masks for all talent and staff, except those on camera, starting with yesterday's Raw taping. Anyone not wearing one will be fined $500 for their first offense, which will double to $1,000 for a second. It's good that WWE is taking this seriously, it's just a shame they're doing this 3 months too late. And now it's time for a review of last night's episode of Friday Night SmackDown in about 5 minutes. The episode started off with an absolute banger of a segment, with Michael Cole introducing Matt Riddle, who apparently was known as the original King of the Bros in NXT when he was definitely known as the original Bro, but sure. Riddle unfortunately cut a fairly lengthy lengthy promo about being on SmackDown and why he doesn't wear shoes, which apparently was because of frostbite, and when he wears shoes he gets the same feeling again. Trust me, the segment does get better. Unfortunately, WWE seem to think they need to explain Riddle's character when it's one of the easiest to understand. He's a chill guy and says bro a lot. That's it, it's not complicated. Stop making him talk about not funny stuff. Riddle was interrupted by King Corbin, trust me, it does get good, who ran down Riddle for attacking him last week. Riddle squared up to Corbin, but Corbin got a touch of the Teddy Longs and said instead you'll be facing this man, who was John Morrison. What followed was an absolutely incredible match between Morrison and Riddle, though if the purpose of the match was to get Riddle's offense over, it may have failed in that because good God, how amazing is John Morrison? Morrison's movements through ropes and across the ring were absolutely captivating, but Riddle held his own with some great offense of his own. Commentary did a very good job in putting over Riddle's offense and making him sound like a legitimate contender against the former tag champion, which is a really refreshing change from squash match after squash match for almost every other NXT call-up. The finish of the match was a tad cheap, but it made a lot of sense, with both Miz and Corbin attempting to interfere before Riddle countered Morrison's roll-up from the distraction into his own roll-up for the win. Riddle keeps getting these wins over mid-card and upper mid-card acts, and it's great to see him building momentum. But you know what happens next? His 3-week push is up, so expect him to lose to Mojo Rawley next week. Thank you for being awesome pledge hammers on Patreon, The Rocket, Dan Van Sky, and WrestleTalk's personal ring announcer, Rodrigo Benitez. But the action didn't stop there on the show, because as Riddle was celebrating on the ramp, he was blindsided by AJ Styles before being saved by Drew Gulak, and after an ad break we went straight into the Intercontinental Championship match between the two. In what was another awesome pairing, this match was slower but much more psychological, with Styles working over Gulak's knee for the majority of the match, with Gulak working in some comebacks. Daniel Bryan occasionally popped in over Zoom to offer his coaching perspective on the match, which was a nice touch. Styles was able to win comfortably in the end, hitting a Styles Clash from out of nowhere before propping up Gulak in the corner and nailing a phenomenal forearm to retain the title. This was a much needed win for Styles to maintain his strong champion status after losing to Riddle a couple of weeks ago. Bayley and Banks were out next, and after saying that The Undertaker personally called Bayley to tell her she and Banks were the best champions in WWE history, they deserved a tribute, which led to them playing their own tribute video package. This was pretty fun, honestly, and for once it made sense for someone to say, let's take a look, and throw to the Titantron. Unfortunately though, Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross came out after the video and decided to outline their own achievements, which I think were probably rejected lines from a Dean Ambrose promo, because apparently Alexa Bliss has driven across Antarctica in a go-kart, and Nikki Cross is 325th in line for the throne? What? After getting in each other's faces, Alexa slapped Bayley, and in a nice reversal of what had happened previously, Sasha Banks was the one who made an impromptu match for Bayley against Bliss. The match itself wasn't anything too special, more focused around Bayley taunting #1 contender Nikki Cross than anything, which led into the finish of Cross getting too angry at Bayley's shenanigans and attacking her for the DQ. After that was a video package for Wyatt vs Strowman at Extreme Rules, This Is the Horror Show, which was pretty good. Before we get Kofi Kingston versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Both Big E and Cesaro were ejected fairly early in this match, allowing Shinsuke and Kingston to shine a little, in what ended up as a really fun match, with inventive counters and reversals all over the place. After some near falls, Shinsuke managed to win clean with a Kinshasa to the side of Kingston's head, setting up a tag title match next week on SmackDown. And finally on the show was Sheamus's toast to Jeff Hardy, which was about as uncomfortable as you'd expect. Sheamus, via Zoom, said Jeff has a problem facing reality, and then said the solution was to drink, which is a really not cool thing to say to someone recovering from addiction. Jeff fired up briefly, shouting at Sheamus and asking if he thought exploiting his pain was funny, which was a nice side of his character to show, and also really something that should be said to Vince McMahon. The bartender in the ring offered Jeff a drink, who then poured it over the bartender's head. Oh, it's a nice babyface way to reject the drink. I mean, with all those bottles in the ring, I was expecting at least one of them to— oh my God, Jeff, you could have killed that guy! Because smashing a bottle over someone's head isn't enough, Jeff then hit a swanton on the poor bartender and stood tall to end the show. Not sure why that was the main event when you have an Intercontinental Championship match on the show, but okay. Overall, this was a great show. The first half of the show was absolutely electric, and it was on course for a 5 out of 5. Unfortunately, the Bliss and Cross promo, their match, and the main event segment weren't quite up to that standard, but it was still a comfortable 4 out of 5 show, with a ton of wrestling and not all that many promo segments on a wrestling show. I know, it's crazy. Thanks to the wonderful people at WrestleCrate. If you go to wrestlecrate.co.uk and use the promo code WrestleTalk, you'll get 3 photographed portraits inside your first box when you take out a subscription, including one from Ollie and Luke, but not me. WrestleCrate is a monthly mystery box full of loads of wrestling goodies, which has items from the biggest promotions in wrestling. There's been a major WWE leak. Press the video to the right to find out what it is, and press the video below that to be taken to Louis Dangle's interview with Nick Aldis, who dives into his all-in match with Cody and how it came about. Make sure to check out the WrestleCrate links in the description below, as it really does help us out. You can follow us on Twitter at WrestleTalk_TV and me at Pete Quinnell. And that was wrestling.